South Africa is set to host the highly anticipated 10th summit of the BRICS bloc, which groups Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa will be gathering in July in South Africa. The summit will see South Africa building on the program of development and prosperity for partner nations. Ahead of that, South Africa and India have earmarked a program to strengthen ties. The first ever India-South Africa Business Summit takes place in a few days. For more on that, I'm joined in studio by the Indian High Commissioner to South Africa, Excellency Ruchira Kamboj. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. This is the first time an event like this is happening. What can we look forward to?
Well, you're absolutely right. This is the first time that this event is happening in South Africa, or in India for the matter. This is the very first India-South Africa Business Summit. It has a very attractive tagline, if I may say so: united by legacy, unified for prosperity. So I think that tagline sums it all. Our two countries are old friends. We have a very rich history, but going together into the future, we are very confident that we have a very strong and equally rich shared future together.
Do you have an idea of how much Indian business is operating in South Africa and vice versa?
Yes, of course. Well, Indian business has a strong footprint in South Africa. We have about 150 Indian companies operating in South Africa, employing about 18,000 South Africans. So there's a very strong accent on localization. Indian investment in South Africa is also around $10 billion US. South African investment in India can do much better. It is just about $1 billion US. So these are the figures that we hope to grow in the coming years through an effort such as this and subsequent additions in the coming years.
An important factor that needs to be worked on in both Africa and in India is that of development, especially when it comes to the issue of women and women entrepreneurship. How much of a focus will you have on this, and what type of people do you have speaking to these issues?
Well, I'm very happy that you raised this question, because the summit has a focused segment on women entrepreneurs in India and South Africa. Like you, we feel that we need to uplift women, and more Indian women, and I think South African women, are taking to entrepreneurship and business and doing very, very well at that. So we have a very exciting session on day 2, on 30th April, which focuses on women entrepreneurs in both countries. And I'm happy to tell you that we have some of the top names from South Africa and from India participating in this very exciting session.
How do we use technology to try and further these goals, especially when it comes to empowerment, not only of women, but with a strong focus on women in the African context?
No, I think that's a very good question. Technology is very critical, particularly if you want to bridge the digital divide. For example, you would have heard of the Green Revolution in India. Through technology, we really enhanced crop yields. Similarly, in the present context, going forward, a lot can be achieved in terms of satellite data mapping, the use of ICT that can enhance the productivity in the rural areas. That's being done in India, that can be done in South Africa, and I think that is the new frontier where our two countries can work together to mutual benefit.
A factor that plays a large role in employment in South Africa is small and medium enterprises.
Right.
They're set to account for as much as 60% of formal employment in our country, and are a way of increasing growth, increasing economic participation. Would you say the figures are about the same for India, and how can that increase, especially with that focus on women?
Well, as far as figures are concerned, I wouldn't be able to say whether the figures are the same in India, but what I can say is that in India too, there is pretty much the same accent. Small and medium enterprises, they have a lot of potential, and we are doing very well there. And if you ask me, I think it really works very well, because on the one hand, you create employment, and on the other hand, through these small and medium enterprises, you uplift the lot of women, because a lot of women are engaged in these enterprises. So we're very strong in that, and I see tremendous potential for our two countries to collaborate in this sector for mutual benefit.
A big focus, and you touched a bit on new energy and green energy, is this fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence.
Right.
Countries like China are pumping billions into AI so that in the future they know their growth can be sustained. How much is India doing in that sector, and will there be a focus on that type of artificial intelligence in this conference, which is going to play a large part in how we live, work and are transported in the future?
No, absolutely, you're very right. I think none of us can escape this fact. And for that very reason, there is a focus segment on the fourth industrial revolution and future skills. So we have we have a very attractive lineup, and we have one of our leading specialists also taking part, Professor Divakar Vesh, who is doing wonderful pioneering work in India. He's coming with a set of 3 robots. One of them is a prosthetic hand. He's going to demonstrate all of that. And much like the world, India is also very much convinced that the 4th Industrial Revolution is something that we cannot let it pass by. And we are very much also focusing on this segment, which is why at the summit we have a full focus on the 4th Industrial Revolution and future skills.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Indian High Commissioner to South Africa, Her Excellency Ruchira Kamboj. Thanks for that.
Thank you.